It's the prime mover Cockpit, and you're watching the most single must-see entertaining show on YouTube. Well, it's Cheap Shot Entertainment, baby.
Hello and welcome to Cheap Shot Entertainment. I am your host Luke, and you are the Cheap Shot Nation. This is the first video of 2019 and we're going to take you through everything that happened over the weekend of the 4th and 5th and 6th in Hope Wrestling. There was a show in Mansfield, Evolution 76 and Evolution 77 took place in its usual venue in Leicester, and we're going to run down all of the results. Unfortunately we couldn't be there, so there's going to be no detail in this. We're just doing this video to try and help the Hope Army and the further British Revolution followers here on Cheap Shot Entertainment to keep up with all of the results around our local area, which is the East Midlands. And without further ado, make sure you click that subscribe button, hit the notification bell, follow us on Instagram, Twitter and Facebook, and we'll get on with the show. And so your first show took place on the 4th of January 2019. It was Hope Wrestling, Evolution 76, sometimes you're the hammer, sometimes you're the nail. It was in Forest Town, the spiritual home of Hope Wrestling, and the source that we got this information from was Neil Bonser, who is also the sound guy, the resident sound guy for Hope Wrestling. So we're going to go on to some match results here. So the New Year's Monsters Brawl featuring Cy Gregory, Mark Sanders, future champion Mark Sanders, current Will Cruz, and Warren Banks saw Cy Gregory go over all of those guys in what was a fantastic match, so I hear, for massive guys with big aspirations in 2019 just going at each other. You couldn't ask for more from a Monsters Brawl. So your winner in that match, the first match on the card in Mansfield, was Cy Gregory, and he continues his winning streak in Hope Wrestling on the main roster. He's been winning on Sacrifice Pro as well, and he definitely has a streak going here, so you can probably see him very soon in the main event picture. Moving on to some ladies action now, we saw Natalie Sykes defeat Luna Rocks in the second match of the night. Natalie Sykes, previously on Future 12 in November, saw her best friend turn on her, Evie Black, so she's come back off the back of that defeat and defeated the much more experienced, much more powerful Luna Rocks. So your winner in that match was Natalie Sykes. So we now move on to the big hitters, the main players in Hope Wrestling. Hustle Malone was going against Kyle Kingsley. A newly heel Kyle Kingsley turned his back on the Hope fans because they turned their back on him. Hustle Malone defeats Kyle Kingsley via disqualification, so I hear it only took 5-10 seconds for Kyle Kingsley to get disqualified in that match. Of course, his rivalry with Warren Banks is still very much ongoing as we speak. New to the Hope roster, Hope main roster, very secure in the Sacrifice roster and the Hope Future roster, is Chaos Kai Payne, and he's been given a huge match against Cara Noir on this card. He does manage to defeat Cara Noir, the much more experienced and shall we say crazier than Kai Payne. He managed to defeat Cara Noir in what I've heard was the match of the night there in Mansfield on the 4th. We move on to the number 1 contenders match. It is another fatal 4-way, and it features Diamond Dave Andrews, Danny Chase, Jade, Joe Nelson, Kelly Six and Chris Tyler. So it was actually a scramble match rather than a fatal four-way, but your new #1 contender for the Kings of Flight Championship is Diamond Dave Andrews, and he gets to go for the Kings of Flight Championship against Chief Deputy Dunn at any point during the next year, having won that match. Your next match features a new face in Hope Wrestling. It features Session Moth Martina and the new face of Liam Morley in Jack Cave. Jack Cave's making his return after the tyranny that King Liam Morley put the Hope roster through and the Hope fans through over the last year, taking control of the company over Harvey Dale. Harvey Dale is now your manager again, booking the matches, running the shows, and Session Moth Martina, it seems that she actually defeated Jack Cave on no less than 6 occasions during this match. I'm guessing that Jack Cave couldn't take the loss, continuing his very poor win-loss record, or very good loss-win record, however you want to look at it, by being defeated 6 times in one match. Only Jack Cave could get away with that. Jackie, love you. Keep doing what you're doing. You're very entertaining, and I've bought his shirt, so get on Jack Cave's Facebook page and pre-order your new shirt from Jack Cave, from good old Jackie Cave. Ain't it hard keeping it this hardcore? So yeah, we move on to the Hope Championship match now, featuring Kip Sabian, Mr. World of Sport, going against former champion Jack Jester. Now, I have seen a video of this that a fan posted online, and it seems that Kip Sabian tried to have a drinking contest with Jack Jester. There's no way you're going to outdrink a Scotsman, Kip, and that just led to the win for Jack Jester. It was literally Jack Jester in the ring, roll him up after a couple of pints, and that's it. That is your winner. Your new Hope Wrestling champion is Jack Jester. Kip Sabian on his way to World of Sport. Been very entertaining though, Kip, so we hope you'll come back at some point during the next year to challenge for the title again, and give us more entertainment than you've done previously, which is hard to follow, because you've had some of the best matches. Kip Sabian's had some of the best matches in Hope Wrestling over the past year, certainly in 2018 and before that, in fact, winning the Kings of Flight Championship in the Kings of Flight tournament in 2017. So we're going to move on now to everything that happened in Leicester on the 5th of January.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
And so we move on to the following night, the Saturday, 5th of January 2019, for Hope Evolution 77. It is a Hope Wrestling pay-per-view, a staple in Leicester in the Working Man's Club. The name of the show was Hope Evolution 77. Another song about the weekend, very fitting. Well, Leicester shows are always really, really good as well. The crowd is buzzing, much like Mansfield. It is the West End in Colville in Leicester, and it's the West End Club in Leicester. And again, once again, thank you to sound guy Neil Bonser for the info that he posted on the hashtag Hope Army page, allowing us to do this video. So yeah, you can check out that page as well on Facebook, hashtag Hope Army, for everything to do with Hope Wrestling. Comment, leave likes and subscribe and all that kind of stuff to our channel as well. So your first match on that card featured Fraser Thomas and Charlie Evans. I believe I've seen Fraser Thomas before. He was at the Hope 5th anniversary show in a scramble match. I think it was the summertime scramble match. So yeah, I've seen both. Well, certainly seen Fraser Thomas. I think I may have seen Charlie Evans, but Fraser Thomas goes over Charlie Evans in that first match, the opening match. Then there is a three-way match between Luna Rocks, Evie Black and Natalie Sykes. Previous night, Natalie Sykes got a win over the much more experienced Luna Rocks in their match in Mansfield. It's good to see some of the ladies becoming a staple on the main roster, on the main shows as well. But this time, Luna Rocks picks up a victory and some momentum going into the next lot of shows, picks up the victory over Evie Black and Natalie Sykes in that match. The next match would see the undefeated in Sacrifice Pro and now undefeated in Hope Wrestling, Cy Gregory defeating former two-time Kings of Flight champion Joe Nelson in a match in Leicester. So Cy Gregory continues his domination of Hope Wrestling, and again you might be able to see him in a championship match sooner rather than later. But unlucky Joe, very much an entertainer, but more suited to the Kings of Flight Championship, I think, going forward into the future. Hope Tag Team Championships are on the line next. Champions Nothing to Prove, which is Elijah and LK Mazinga, defeat Session Moth, Martina and Jade to retain their championships. Of course, Session Moth Martina has turned up for the first time over the weekend in Hope Wrestling. Heard very good things about her, and Jade is a staple, a veteran in Hope Wrestling, coming back off quite a lengthy injury, in fact. So good to see her back on Hope Wrestling moving forward into 2019. So next match features Chaos Kai Payne, Hustle Malone, Tim Lee and another newcomer in Mr. Charles Crowley. Very entertaining character from what I've seen of Charles Crowley, and of course Tim Lee is always entertaining and Hustle Malone is just awesome, the LED nightmare. But in this match, Chaos Kai Payne continues to win on the Hope main roster, going forward into the next lot of shows. Chaos Kai Payne wins the match over Hustle Malone, Tim Lee and Charles Crowley. Unlucky for Charles Crowley and the other guys, in fact, because Charles was making his debut match there. So yeah, hopefully I will get to go to a show where I see Charles Crowley, because he does seem rather entertaining. Next we have a continuation of the feud between Kyle Kingsley and Warren Banks, continuing because Kyle Kingsley turned his back on Warren Banks in a tag team match, delivering a backbreaker to Warren Banks. This one ended in a double disqualification after both guys just started beating the heck out of each other, and the match was thrown out. So again, expect that feud to move forward, and perhaps into the next lot of shows we'll see that feud continue. The next match on the card was Will Cruz, big guy who can fly, against Alexander Hyde. Will Cruz goes over, finally gets his victory in Hope Wrestling. I like Will Cruz. He's a good guy. He's very entertaining and very good at what he does for a big guy. So yeah, Will Cruz goes over Alexander Hyde in that match. So that leads us to the first defence for Jack Jester, and that is against Will Cruz. So Will Cruz goes over, finally gets his victory in Hope Wrestling. I like Will Cruz. He's a good guy. He's very entertaining and very good at what he does for a big guy. So yeah, Will Cruz goes over Alexander Hyde in that match. So that leads us to the first defence for and he is going against another former champion in Chris Tyler for the Hope Wrestling Championship. And so I hear again, this match was the match of the night, so designated match of the night here on Cheap Shot Entertainment. Jack Jester, having been out with the Hope Faithful the night before. I've seen videos, it looks really fun. I'm gutted that I was at work on Friday night because I would have loved to have come out with you guys. And he defeats Chris Tyler in what was a barn burner of a match, but keeps the championship. He's now two-time champion. He hasn't been champion for a long while. He's gone for the title a couple of times in the last year or so, but he hasn't been champion for a very long time. So it's good to see that Jack Jester's getting back on the tide of being champion, which is really, really cool, because I like Jack Jester. He's very, very good at what he does, and so is Chris Tyler, but his attitude change has not really delivered much in the way of success for Chris Tyler in the last sort of 4 months. But that is everything that happened over the weekend of the 4th and the 5th of January in Hope Wrestling. We hope you've enjoyed the show, the new format of the show when we can't get 2 shows to report on them live and take notes. Just going to read down the results basically and do it all in one video. So next time we can actually go to a show, you'll get a more in-depth read down of everything that happened. But for the sake of putting a video out and our love of Hope Wrestling, without whom we wouldn't have even started this channel, we just thought I'd read out some matches and some results going forward, so you can keep up with what's going on. And that leads us to the end of this video. If you liked the video, click the subscribe button right there and drop kick that notification bell to know when we upload new videos to the channel. You can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter and Facebook, and leave us comments down below. Let us know what you think of the videos. Give us suggestions. We might be able to do something that you suggest in terms of videos. And yeah, that's it from us. You are the Cheap Shot Nation. I've been your host Luke, and we'll bid you adieu. Happy New Year for 2019. Goodbye.